Hello again and welcome back to Nuts on Cars. So today's video is going to be a bit more of an in-depth review of the Cayman S 981. So just want to kind of talk through, had the car 20 months and 20,000 miles now, and basically if you're in the market for one of these, what I think you should look out for and what I think is good value, and just an overall opinion really. We're going to go for a drive as well, so we'll give you some sort of drive-bys and things like that, and just give you an opinion. We've also fortunate enough to have a 718S as a comparison. Obviously it might be a question of which one do you go for. These are obviously cheaper, but if you're looking on finance, there might not be much in the monthly payments. So is it worth going for the 4-cylinder instead of the 6? That's the question. So we'll give a bit of opinion on that along the way. I'll start with the spec really. So what when you're looking through the classifieds, what to look out for. Now this car has got quite a high spec, so I just want to talk through those bits and the ones that I think you really should go for, and those that aren't that important. So we'll start with the front. We've got this one's got the adaptive lights basically, and they're by Xenon, and you'll know that straight away because it's got the headlamp washer. So something you can spot quite easily, but they are really good. Not essential, I wouldn't say, so I wouldn't let that determine whether you buy the car or not. The outside of the car, obviously we've got the 20-inch Carrera Classic wheels. Now the 981 Cayman S came with 19-inch, and there are a couple of 20-inch options. These personally are my favourite, and obviously we like them because we've got them on the 718 as well. So I think that transforms the look of the car. Along with that is the Porsche Active suspension management. So that drops the car by 10 mil. And again, I mean, you can't see right now the way the drive is, but you can look at a car in the pictures and you just see they just sit nicer, and also then you get the benefit of it being more supple when it's off, and when you put it on obviously it stiffens everything up. So I think that's an essential option, and they've both got these. So as we walk around the car, I'll just show you kind of practicality I guess as well. So this is my daily car, play golf, and the golf clubs do fit in the boot. Just got a protective mat from Porsche just to keep all the carpet nice, but it's a decent sized boot, to be honest, and you've obviously got 2 of them, so yeah, if you want to go away for a weekend or anything, you're definitely not restricted. Coming round on the front here, you really can see that it's obviously got the PASM suspension, the way that the car sits, so that does make a big difference. Another thing to look out for if you're looking at cars is to make sure, you won't be able to see it on camera, but it's N-rated tyres all round and then they match. That seems to be quite a particular thing, and they won't put a warranty on the car without it. Round to the other boot, obviously with the engine being in the middle. Again, decent size, so you can get a fair bit of whatever you want in there. And you've then got, what have we got in here? We've got the tyre gunk, so no no spare wheel or anything like that, so if you're in trouble, that's your way out. That lives in there, so they sit in quite smart. You've got your top up of your Mobil 1 oil, which lives in here, and 0W40 is what they recommend, so they don't tend to burn oil, to be honest, so I haven't put any extra oil in other than what's been done on the servicing. So if it's burning oil, I'd probably say obviously you've got a problem. We've got a tow hitch, lock and wheel nut, and a little toolkit on the other side, so it's all just nice and neat and easy to get in and out. And then you've got a couple of bits, it's a bit dusty under here, which is a bit embarrassing, but you get the tyre pump, you got your brake fluid, and then you've got your screen wash that lives over there as well. So you could just have no harm in looking at the rear, have a look at the battery, and just make sure there's no kind of accident damage as well, I suppose, when you're looking around the cars. But yeah, it's not an impractical car, and definitely as a daily, it's more than enough, to be honest. This one's done 57,000 miles. I don't think it's had any paintwork done, to be honest, on the front, and it's not very chippy. With it being white. On black cars, you're probably going to find that they will get in a worse way. So just be wary of that. So to look at, I just think with the wheels and the PASM on the outside, I just think they look fantastic. And again, you've got a few little design tweaks. The front bumper, the lights on the 718 have changed. I think the front actually looks better on the 981 than it does on the 718, but I think the back with the new lights, if we go around there and show you the difference, is I think the rear end on the 718 is definitely prettier. It just looks a bit more aggressive, the darker lights. Suddenly the lights on the 981 look quite red. You could have the like GTS lights on these, which I do think are nice, but I think that was on the later cars. This is a 2013 car. So yeah, and then interestingly, we were just doing some kind of research on the stats on these two. So it looks like the 981 is potentially a little bit lighter. With PDK, which they've both got, it's 1,355 kilos for this one, and 1,385 for this one. So with that being 4-cylinder, it was just a question really as to where that extra weight has come from. But yeah, in this you've got obviously the flat six, 325 horsepower, 273 foot-pounds of torque. And the power delivery is totally different between these two. This one definitely is punchier. The torque kicks in a lot lower. It's got 310 foot-pounds, and it comes in at sort of 1900 instead of 3,500 revs, I believe it is. So just a totally different driving style. So if you're looking at both, I would probably say potentially down a country road, the way that delivers the power is actually more impressive, and it would probably leave that, to be honest, because it just pull out the corners so much better. But the noise is more pure in the 981 for definite. So yeah, it's a tough one, to be honest. There isn't kind of, a lot of people obviously go for the 981 because of the engine, but I would not rule out the 718, definitely not. So something to consider, and you get obviously a newer car. So we'll move on to the interior. Okay, so moving on to the interior, what do I think is kind of essential and not, and what's this car got? So first thing that you notice when you jump in, this car has got the extended leather. So you can tell, if you're looking in the classifieds, you'll see the silver trim on the door. And then that gives you your softer leather on your seats. And it also gives you the leather dash with your nice stitching, which I just think transforms the car. They have got quite grainy dashes as standard. So yeah, for me, that's an essential option. Other things to point out, you've got the sports steering wheel on this car, which is smaller, which again, you can tell straight away it just feels nicer. And you've got your flappy paddles instead of buttons, which come on the standard car. So for me, that is essential. Moving on to the middle, you've got the Sport Chrono, which gives you the ability to do launch control and have the Sport Plus setting. Again, has to be an essential box for me. Then we've also got, this car has got nav. So that for me just isn't really worth it now, with it being a 2013 model year. It just seems dated and I end up using my phone. So not an essential box that needs ticking if the car that you're looking at hasn't got it. Dual zone climate. Personally, I'm not that bothered about it. Some people might be, but it's a nice touch. Heated seats, probably more attractive. I do like them in the winter. The buttons down here, so like I say, with the Sport Chrono you get the Sport Plus button, and you also, with the PASM, that's your suspension button, traction control, spoiler and stop start. What else we got in here? This car's got cruise. Some people might like that. I don't use it that much, so not essential for me. We've got the sports seats, which gives you the hard backed bit at the back, which is nice, and then obviously the winged support at the top. Again, I think that's quite an important option. I do love those. And what else in here? We've got the interior light pack, which is quite trivial, but you get a little ring of light around here, and you get a light in the footwell. So, and then one of the final option I can think of is the Bose. So that, again, for me, that the 718s don't seem as bad with the standard system, but the 981, I think the standard system, we had a Boxster before with the standard system, and it wasn't that great. So again, if you can get Bose, brilliant. But yeah, these cars now are, as I say, under £30,000, and it's potentially one of the best cars you can buy, and actually, for a pure driving machine, it's up there with the best. So we'll go for a drive and let you know what we think of that. Before we go for a drive, just quickly jump in the 718, because a couple of you might be kind of and ahhing between the two, just to show you how fewer differences there are really between the two. So they're again pretty high spec car. This you've got the steering wheel, which is a little bit bigger, and you've also then got the Sport Chrono system on there. I think they took that from the 918, so that is really nice instead of having the buttons in the middle. What else we got in here? You've got the Sport Chrono again, which is set further back. You've got the nicer screen. Now you do get like Apple CarPlay and things with this, so it is a much more up-to-date system, so that is definitely an improvement. Fewer buttons down here because of the Sport Chrono missing, and it's been on the steering wheel. The button that I desperately wish I had, the sports exhaust button. So that is a fantastic option. You can add them on for like £2,000. So it's a lot of money, but it does transform them. So lovely option. But again, extended leather, sports seats. It is very similar in here for a car that is 5 years younger. It doesn't. There's not that much between them. So yeah, just thought we'd quickly run through that. So we will go for a drive now. Okay, so what's it like to drive? We've obviously got the 718, we've also had the 981 Boxster 2.7, and we've had previous 987 Boxsters as well. So this for me is still one of the best cars personally I've ever driven. It's one of the most supple cars to drive slowly, and to be honest, I don't even drive it that fast most of the time because it's just so pleasurable to drive normally. It rides really well, it's quiet, it's easy with PDK, it's just is, and you just get, even though you're not driving fast, you still feel like everything's expensive and well engineered. And I think that's kind of the big selling point with a Porsche, is you don't need to drive them fast to kind of appreciate the car. So I literally just love pootling around in it. It really is incredible. So, but if you do want to open it up, you've got plenty of settings that you can play with. So you can put it into Sport Plus, and it does that on its own. You can then put it, personally I like to then put it in manual mode, and then you're on the paddles. If I'm going to turn the traction control off, I would probably just leave it in Sport, because the gear change is ferocious and it can literally try and throw you into a hedge. So if you're going to get serious about it, leave it in that mode. But I just love the way it changes gear so fast, and I'm not sure if you can hear that on the mic, but it's just so quite aggressive in comparison to what it's like normally. And then the PASM turns on when you go into Sport Plus, so it really stiffens it up, which actually when you're on a country road, I watched a couple of reviews and they do say that with the standard suspension it kind of feels a bit soft, but with the PASM it really kind of just, it's kind of perfect setup without being ridiculously firm. So yeah, it's accurate, it's the balance I think you get from the mid-engine thing is the kind of the first thing that also jumps out to you when you jump in them, just because you go around a bend and it just feels so lovely and weighted, and yeah, just sharp and responsive, and yeah, it is special, to be honest. So I do love it for that reason. What else can we talk about? I'll put it back into normal mode. I don't know what else to say. Yeah, if you're doing like motorway driving and things, then you're going to get good fuel economy. I can get 40 to the gallon if I want to on a motorway journey. So it really is a proper daily car. How does it compare? I guess the question then is to the 718. It's, I don't even know how to explain it. It's how does it compare to the 718? It's more raw, do you reckon? You might not be able to hear Frank on the camera, but I'm going to ask him for a bit of a steer.
I think the 718 actually feels a bit more, that feels more raw.
Yeah.
And definitely more punchy.
The 718 feels more raw.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because the engine's rougher.
Oh yeah. You get a rougher feel from it.
I think the car's actually sharper, turning in just the general feel of the car.
That's purely, as well as being a newer, lower mileage car, they've probably tweaked a couple of things on the newer models.
They've definitely tweaked a few bits.
Yeah.
Engine delivers phenomenal performance. It doesn't just sound as sweet and smooth as a flat six. For me personally, I was happy with the 718. When I bought it, I could have had a GTS 981, but I decided to go with the
it's more it's more usable power, isn't it? It's like
it is.
You can use more of it more of the time without absolutely wringing its neck. So you can kind of make progress without giving it everything, so you don't feel like you're driving as much of a nutter.
True. I actually wanted the new PCM and just a newer car.
Yeah, that does make a big difference. All the new tech. So yeah, it's hard to kind of give an answer on. We're going to get stuck here. On which one should you go for, because most people have got a definitive decision that the 981 is a better car, but it's a close one for me. I still think it's an amazing engine in the 718, so it's kind of underrated, to be honest. So yeah, how does it compare to the 2.7 Boxster? Really, the Boxster's probably got a smoother, silkier engine. If you're looking for like the best 6-cylinder sound and feel, that's probably better, but it lacks torque, which this then gets, and it's definitely obviously more powerful. So, but yeah, the 2.7, again, I wouldn't rule that engine out. It's a real sweet spot. So, and
I think one of the most impressive cars we've ever driven was actually the 718 Cayman S. Cayman GTS.
GTS, yeah, which we did a review on. And again, a 4-cylinder, and they just keep kind of blowing us away. Like,
that car was bonkers.
Yeah. They once you get past the noise, you kind of, there's more to it than that, and you can't just shut it down for that one reason, because they are incredible and they are so much faster. Okay, so that's hopefully give you an idea of a couple of drive-bys and a launch control, which sounds incredible. I haven't done it for a while. It was quite good. So yeah, it just wanted to kind of show what you get for your money. As I say, under £30,000, 50,000 miles. I just think it's one of the best used car buys you can buy, and a potential future classic with it being a 6-cylinder. So if you've got any questions, or then pop them in the comments and I'll come back to you. And yeah, happy hunting for a Cayman S 981. See you soon.